Some writers just want to write their story and they're like, I don't care if it's to market or not. And that's great for you. But if you want to build a reader fan base and have readers that want to read your backlist and read all the stories that you release, you will need to care about meeting those readers' expectations with your story. And today I'm going to talk about exactly how you can do that. I want to talk specifically about how we can meet reader expectations with the ending of our story, and also why that's important. So I'm going to go ahead and bring the screen up so you can kind of figure it out while I'm talking about it. But reader expectations is super important if you want to get positive reviews. And we all want positive reviews. And if you want readers to come back to read your next story, and we all want readers to come back and read our next story, right? So if we don't meet reader expectations, then that will not happen for us. So today I'm going to talk about 3 things that you need to do to meet reader expectations. But I want to give a caveat here. Reader expectations change depending on your genre. Certain genres are like, this is a big no-no. And other genres are like, oh, that's totally cool. And matter of fact, we might expect you to end that way. So, or not do that thing. So that's why it's really important to read within the genre that you're writing in. So the first thing that you need to do, and what I feel like is the most important thing, is your character's arc. It needs to be complete and it needs to be believable. Sharon, what do you mean about that? What I mean is that at the beginning of the story, your character had a quest. They needed to solve a problem. And so they went on the quest that happened in the story, whether or not it's, an adventure story or a romance or whatever. And by the end, they need to have resolved that or not resolve that. And we'll talk about the different types of endings next time. But they do need to have changed. And it can't be just easy peasy. Oh, yes, how I've been so silly. And now I can totally accept whatever I need to do to make this story resolve. No, that is not how you don't meet reader expectations and you get angry reviews. And you will definitely lose a star from me if you in your review, if you just wrap everything up so easily, instead of really building up that character journey. Now, remember, character is what happens internally, the change that's happening internally, that outside the plot, those events are instigating that change. Okay, so they're woven together. But the character change, a lot of people are like, well, they won the battle. Yeah, but did they change? And why are they able now? If you don't show me the progression of how they're able to change, okay? So you need to show them have changed. What can they do at the end of the story that they couldn't do at the beginning of the story? Because they needed to change. They needed to overcome their fear, or they needed to disprove their lie. All the other things we've been talking about on this series. So that's important. If you want to meet reader expectations, don't let that character change just, be some instantaneous thing. It needs to get built up, and you need to show how the character is processing the events that are happening so that when they get their epiphany, when they get the aha moment, when they change, it's believable instead of too easy. The second thing that's really important is answering the story question. Now, you'll see the first thing I call it here is the payoff on the promise. And that's Susan May Warren's terminology that she uses in the story equation. So what that means is at the beginning of the story, you made a promise. You said, this story is going to be about X. At the end of this story, you will know why. And so if you do not, at the end of the story, give them the answer to why, then the reader is going to be very upset. They're going to feel unfulfilled. They're going to feel robbed. They're not going to be happy. Again, losing a star from Sharon, for sure, if you do not answer the story question. Now, remember, the story doesn't have to be a happy ending, but the question has to be answered. So let me use my novel for an example. Okay, my story question is she going to be able to um, figure out how to live her life and cope now that she lost her family? And then we learn later that the real story question is she going to actually be able to get to heaven to join her family? So by the end, I have answered that story question. That is what's important, that the reader goes, okay, you promised me that this story was about this. And at the end, I see that it is, and you've given me a fulfilling closure to that question. All right. And the third thing is showing the new reality. Now, different genres will do this a little bit more in depth or not. So that's why it's really important to understand your genre. But what do I mean by that is the reader, to feel full satisfaction, wants to know if life's going to be great for this character now that they've solved this problem, now that they've answered this story question. So they want to know about that. And so it's your job to give enough of a glimpse of the new reality and how it's going to be different now that they've overcome this fear and now they've faced their lie and understand the truth. How is their reality, their world, their life going to be different? You can do that with as little as a sentence or a paragraph or a page. Some authors and some genres will dedicate the whole last chapter or an epilogue in some cases, if it happens months away from the rest of the story, to answer that fulfillment for the reader, especially in romances. If you're giving them a happily ever after and you want to show your reader, your couple married, you'll show their marriage, if that's their thing. Maybe having a kid was their thing, whatever. So you might fast forward and have that epilogue showing, yes, all of it came together and look, they've got exactly everything they wanted. Okay. So you need to get enough of a glimpse of the new reality to say, hey, I can close this book and know that this character is going to be okay. So meet your reader's expectations with the whole story, yes, but especially the ending and how you end, that your character change needs to be complete, the story question needs to be answered, and you need to give the reader enough of a glimpse at the character's new reality that they feel satisfied with the story.